Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to be using some French bread to make some really awesome recipes using the French bread, and what's best about that is this French bread is really inexpensive. You can pick up this French bread for right around $1 to $1.50 at Walmart, so very cheap, but yet makes these meals very filling. So let's go ahead and get started, and I will show you exactly how to make these recipes. Starting off today, we're making a taco sandwich, and this is something that my dad used to make when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it. In my bowl, I have one room temperature block of cream cheese along with about 1 cup of salsa. You can just use a mild salsa for this, but if you want to have a little bit more spice, you can also use a hotter salsa. It's up to you. Get that mixed together until it's pretty smooth and then set it aside for right now. Now pulling out my loaf of French bread here, I have a thicker piece on the bottom, the top is a little bit thinner. In that thicker piece, you're going to begin pulling out some of the bread. You don't want to pull out all the bread, you just want to give it some room to fit all the ground beef in once we cook the ground beef. If you get it too thin, it will not stay together very well, so just keep that in mind and try not to take out too much. Now we're going to go ahead and take that cream cheese and salsa mixture, and we're going to add that over top of the French bread. You will just use every bit of this and spread it around on the bread until none of the bread is showing. Now moving over to my stovetop, I have a skillet here that's nice and hot. I'm going to add 1 pound of ground beef in there along with half of a yellow onion that I chopped up. And we're just going to cook these in here together until the ground beef is cooked all the way through. Once your ground beef is done, go ahead and drain off any grease that may be in the pan, and then add in a little bit of water and some taco seasoning. Once that is mixed together and has thickened up a little bit, you'll take it over to your French bread, and this ground beef is going into the side that you pulled the bread out of. Over top of the ground beef, you'll just add some cheese. Today I was using a mixture of some cheddar jack and some Mexican style cheese. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and add any other toppings that you like. We do not bake this. We always eat it just like this. So if you want to bake yours, then I would wait to put on any of these toppings here. But if you're not going to bake it, then you can go ahead and add your lettuce and tomato. Here's what mine looked like in the end. Like I said, we do not bake ours, so this is a great summer meal not to heat up your house too much unless you do decide to bake it, but honestly, I think it's good without baking it. I like to eat mine in separate pieces. I eat the top first and then I eat the bottom. I know that's probably really weird, but that's how I like to eat it. And like I said, this is a favorite from when I was a kid, so that makes it even better. Next up, we're making some messy meatball subs, and if your meatball sub is not messy, then it's not a very good meatball sub in my opinion. To begin, I'm just preheating my oven to 375 degrees, and then moving over here to my pot, I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Into my avocado oil, I am adding half of a yellow onion that I chopped up and 4 ounces of mushrooms that I chopped up. After about 8 to 10 minutes, when those are nice and soft and have got some color on them, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of some minced garlic. Let that garlic cook for about 30 seconds or so, and then you're going to add in 1 teaspoon of oregano and 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Next, we're going to add in 1 bag of meatballs. I am just using these Italian style meatballs, and there's about 52 in this bag. And then I'm adding 1 jar of spaghetti sauce in here as well. I'm just going to get this all mixed together and cook these meatballs over a medium heat in this sauce until the meatballs are warmed through. Moving over here, I have my French bread already sliced open and ready to go. I am just taking some shredded mozzarella cheese and adding that to the bottom piece of the French bread. You can add anywhere between a cup to a cup and a half of cheese, just make sure you have the bottom covered. And now we are going to load this bottom piece of bread with these meatballs. And I almost used all the meatballs. I had a couple left over that just didn't really fit. But you want to add as much as you can, add some extra sauce in there, get this filled up really full. Over top of that, you're going to add some sliced provolone cheese. Now this is going into the oven to bake for right around 10 to 15 minutes until the cheese has melted and the bread has toasted up. Normally I like to make my own homemade meatballs, but this time I did not have any prepared in the freezer, so I went ahead and just used these frozen ones and they worked out just fine. Homemade ones definitely add more flavor, I think, but these ones were great. I love a good messy meatball sub, and this one was super messy. We actually ate these with forks because they were that messy, but we love them that way. If you don't want yours to be so messy, then just add a little bit less meatballs and a little bit less sauce. Now we are making a steak sandwich. This was our favorite meal of this entire week. To begin, I'm slicing up 1 yellow onion along with about 4 ounces of some mushrooms. Moving over to my stovetop, I'm cooking 14 ounces of some shaved steak. I am going to season this lightly with just a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to let this cook until the pink is no longer visible. Once the steak is cooked through, I'm going to go ahead and remove this out of my pan into a bowl and set it aside for right now. Into the same pan, since there's already good flavor in there from the steak, we're going to go ahead and add about another tablespoon or so of avocado oil and then cook the onions and mushrooms in here. I cooked these for probably around 10 to 12 minutes, just until they were tender and had some nice color on them. Once they're done, you can go ahead and add the steak back into the pan and get these mixed up together. Now moving over to my French bread, I already have it sliced in half and I'm going to be using some of this Better Goods basil parmesan garlic butter. If you don't want to buy this butter, I don't blame you. You can go ahead and just make your own garlic butter at home. Taking that butter, I'm just going to cover the top half of this French bread with that. Next, you're going to take that steak, mushroom, and onion and add every little bit of that to the bottom piece of the French bread. To top it off, you're going to take some Havarti cheese and just add that right over top of the steak. Now this is going into the oven to bake for right around 10 to 15 minutes until the cheese has melted and the bread has toasted up. Here's what my plate looked like in the end. These steak sandwiches are seriously so good. And to go along with this, I just went ahead and made some potato wedges, keeping it real nice and easy. But I really cannot say enough good things about these steak sandwiches. They turned out so good. And last but not least, of course, you can never go wrong with some homemade garlic bread. Into this cup here, I have about 3/4 of a stick of salted butter. Into that, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And now I'm just going to add this into the microwave for about 20 to 30 seconds to melt the butter. Next, add a dash of salt. You don't want to go overboard since there is already salt in the butter. Along with a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, and 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. Give that a little mix together, and then over to your French bread. I'm only using 1/2 loaf for this one. You'll go ahead and add all that butter on there. I accidentally deleted that clip, but you'll add all the butter on there. Now this is going into the oven to bake for right around 10 to 15 minutes until the edges of your bread have gotten nice and crispy. This garlic bread is garlicky and very buttery, so if you don't want yours to be quite as buttery, you can cut down on 1/2 of this mixture or use an entire loaf of the bread. This garlic bread was phenomenal. We absolutely loved it, and it went along with our spaghetti so nicely. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you made it all the way to the end of today's video, don't forget to leave me a flower down in the comments below to let me know that you did. I will see you guys back here on Wednesday for a new video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I will see you then. Bye!